Welcome to Borderless, the podcast where we have unhinged conversations on issues related to the boy child. My name is Talcaut.
And I am Emisiolu Adeniro.
Today we're going to be talking about a very important topic: health
and
wealth.
If you hear what we are saying at the moment, it is wealth in the sense that it is all-encompassing wealth as a word and at the same time health as a word. So we'll be spelling it as
W-H-E-A-L-T-H.
So wealth. So that's what we'll be highlighting and at the same time talking about today as it borders the month of June, which is the
Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
So you should know that it is the Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and we are all encompassing how the boy child is navigating the hustle space and trying to make a living out of his life, and at the same time maintaining his mental health.
So, recently there was a lot of people that posted on different social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, talking about how Men's Mental Health Awareness Month is a joke. What do you think of this, seriously?
Well, it is a reality, but it is not a joke. If you're telling somebody to be aware of his mental health, it's just like we are saying, be aware of your legs before you move out of the house. So if I'm telling you that, be sure about your mental health in your livelihood, in your existence, that is not a joke. Because if your mental health is not in check, if it is not in place, you might not know what you turn out to be.
So let me give you a brief breakdown of the words that we're going to talk about this. When we talk about health, according to the World Health Organization, health is a complete state of mental, physical, and social well-being, and not just the absence of illness or infirmity. Now, that means that if you think of your health as a triangle, the three edges of the triangle as physical, mental, and social. And we all know that if you remove one part of the triangle, it is no longer a triangle, which means that if a man is a triangle, the moment you remove his mental health, he is no longer a complete man.
Made in parallel.
Now, which also brings us to what do you now think mental health means? Now, the World Health Organization also said that mental health is the ability of an individual to recognize their ability to cope with life stresses, to work productively, and to be able to contribute to the community. Now, let's look at this. As a man, our idea of a man, we know that as a man, you're supposed to be able to realize your ability. You have to have self-awareness. You cannot be able to work to make wealth if you don't know your abilities, how you can make money, what skills can you exchange for money in this society that we live in. You have to also be able to cope with the stresses of life, because life is stressful for men and women, generally everybody, but it is exceptionally stressful for men, since we're talking about men today. And also you have to also be able to work productively. You cannot be able to work be wealthy if you don't work productively and be able to contribute to your community. And we're always talking about how men have to be good fathers, have to be good role models, have to be good mentors, and they cannot be able to do this if they do not have an optimal mental health. Now, which is why Mental Health Awareness Month is important. And if you look at it from our spelling of wealth, health and wealth, when it comes together to make the word wealth, they are important because if you look at wealth as an holistic term, it basically means that when a person has financial, mental, and psychological well-being, when the person is physically healthy. So, when a person is wealthy, according to our spelling, they are healthy and at the same time they are wealthy, because we need to look at health from an holistic point of view where they are not mutually exclusive. It is not you are healthy but you don't have wealth. It is not you are wealthy and you don't have health. You have to have both, and they work in conjunction with each other.
The symbiotic relationship between health and wealth, and even the social well-being of man, the boy child, can never be removed from one another, because they work hand in hand. And it is in this light that the Boys Without Border NG decide to also take part in the mental health for the month of June, and also make sure that you are productive as a man, and you're also checking your mental health as a man, just for you to be aware that January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and December does not mean that you just have to walk around the clock without checking yourself. How have I even, it is sort of a retrospection that BWB is bringing to your face and telling you that, hey, take a minute, even though it's a minute out of that hour, even though it's an hour out of the whole day, even though it's a day out of the week. Make sure you check yourself, look into what you've been doing. Is your mind stable? Is your mind in the job you are doing while you are pursuing wealth? So, the mental health month, the month of June, PW has also taken part, and it has even made sure that it gives everybody the awareness, just like amplifying the need to check yourself as a boy child, as a man.
While we're talking about awareness, I think that one of the reasons why we need to have awareness is because we can be able to address misconceptions that people have about men's mental health.
Definitely.
And one of those misconceptions and myths is the fact that a man has to suppress their feelings for them to be masculine. The idea of toxic masculinity is that for you to be a man, for me to be able to say that he means he's a man and I am a woman, it means that he suppresses his feeling and I am emotional. But this is very wrong because it perpetuates a stereotype that is very damaging to men. There is no reason why a man has to suppress his feeling. You don't have to man up all the time. Of course, just even if it is not okay, you are still a man. And speaking up when it's not okay does not make you less of a man. In fact, I strongly believe that it takes a lot of courage for you as a man to speak up against the stigma and discrimination surrounding mental health, and talk about how you are feeling, talk about your feelings, and seek the professional help that you need if you need one. It helps. It shows an amount of courage and bravery that not a lot of people have. So suppressing your feelings, in fact, is a sign of a weak man, if you ask me. So one of the misconceptions that we have to address is that men do not have to suppress their feelings. Men should not have to suppress their feelings. And if you are expressing your feelings and emotions to somebody that is taking it very badly, they are telling you to suppress it, they are reacting then you're sharing it with the wrong audience. And instead of suppressing it, you should just redirect the audience that you're sharing it. And we as a society needs to change this narrative surrounding men sharing their emotions and actually show up for our men and let them know that there is a safe space for them to be able to share their feelings and emotions. Which now brings me to this particular thing that happens recently. So Ishan Kishan is a Indian cricket player, and he was talking about how when there was a test series and he took a break for his mental health, so he did not participate. There was a lot of trolling from fans, from the Indians, from people saying that, it is not a reflection of a person that is professional, and it is also a form of disloyalty. There's no reason why I should be taking a break and all of that. And it kind of makes me think about how there's a negative association around taking a break for your mental health, especially for men. We have associated the image of a man with the image of a person that is always working himself to the bone, and then having serious health conditions, not even mental health conditions. Sometimes men are more likely to have cardiovascular diseases and several other health conditions, and they do not seek help until sometimes it is too late for them to be able to get the absolute care that they need. So when we tell men that taking a break from work for their mental health or their general well-being means that they are lazy men and they are not putting effort into work, it kind of perpetuates the stigma and discrimination that we have around mental health, and it ensures that it kind of pushes men to continue to suppress their emotions, which I think is very wrong.
It's sort of a misconception that needs to be removed. You need to understand that when you take a break, at least a break, that is just the word, a break, in those series of experiences, it is not a thing to be tagged laziness. You need that break so that you can push forward. You need to push back to push forward. For it to go up, you need to have first calm down and shoot yourself up. That is why even people that do the 9 to 5, the 8 to 4, you have the month for you to just take a break out of the whole year. That's why earlier I noted that for an hour you need at least a seconds to break down, to just take a chill. For a whole day you need even at least an hour to take a chill. For a whole week you need a day to just take a chill. So for the whole month you need a week. For the whole year you need a month. It is not until when you get yourself all worked up and you are not even able to do what you are doing any longer. So taking a chill is not laziness. Taking a chill is also a strength for you. Taking a chill is a means for you to just push yourself forward, achieve more. People that decided to input the leave into the workspace, they are not just doing it for you to just party. It is also a part of you to have a kind of introspection, have a kind of deal with those aspects of your lives that you know that it is not being productive. And at the same time, for whatsoever career you've pursued, you should always know that your mental health is also pivotal in achieving that goal you're trying to.
So you need to rest. You need to live to fight the next day's battle.
That is just it. And again, one of the things that people continually do is the fact that they weaponize, men's mental health. When you see somebody who is exhibiting some certain level of inability to just talk, an inability when he's down, people try to weaponize this against him. Oh, he's a soft guy, he's not so masculine. Being masculine is also having an aspect of you being able to express your emotions. Emotion is a part of man, human being entirely. So you can cry, it's okay not to be okay. We are not saying you should be all tiring all the time, but if you have those moments of breakdown within your space, say it out. Let people know that you are speaking out. And for those who are listening, you don't weaponize it against the person. For most of these, some reasons like this, people will not want to speak out. People will not want to open up. But when we decide not to weaponize the aspect of their weakness, they will be willing to open up, and we take it as a norm with the society. We will not frown at. We take it as a part of human being. Even a robot, we need a time to cool down.
You know what's most annoying about this is when we hear celebrities try to be role models for mental health awareness, and then they talk about their mental health challenges. Some of them even are bold enough to talk about their diagnosis. And then when something else comes up, people start saying, oh, it is because he had depression. It is because he said that he had bipolar disorder. It is because he had this. And when we do these things, what we're passing across is the fact that it is bad for you to talk about your mental health challenges and your struggles, especially to people that you care about. And the boy children are learning from it, and they also grow up to continue to learn that they should suppress their emotions and they should not talk about their feelings. It's sad because you see that several research studies and the World Health Organizations have showed us that even though men do have mental illness, they are less likely to seek treatment and diagnosis more than women. And the reason is because we as a society have weaponized mental health against men. We've also said that men should suppress their emotion. And it is not just a women doing things against men or for men. It is also men perpetrating these things. Because when we're talking about the Ishan Kishan issue, some of the people that were actually trolling him were also men.
Well, you need to come up for your guy, so to say. You need to rally around him. Don't isolate him. Don't weaponize him without. Okay, he cannot do it because he already talked about being bipolar. He already talked about his inferiority. He already talked about inability to even express himself among the crowd. Hey, you are his friend as a man. You are his co-man, so to say. You are also a boy child. You are also a man. Because if we look at it, if we don't come up for him, we end up raising men who are dysfunctional for the society. So do not weaponize the mental health of a man. If he says, I'm actually at the moment not mentally stable, you say, he's doing it because he's not mentally stable. Let him know that you can actually get off from this. Let him have that moment of chill. Let him have that moment of taking a break. Let him have that moment of looking into himself and developing himself out of it. Don't put it into him as a way of bringing him down at every point in time, taking it on him at every point in time, because it is okay, I will repeat, not to be okay.
Let me also add that any bro code that prevents you from ensuring that your bro is mentally healthy is a code that has bug and should be debugged.
Well, that is it. You heard that. So in fulfilling the bro code, you just have to tell your fellow man that, are you sure you're mentally okay? Why not seek a help? Why not look around for who can help you out? And if you can offer a help, offer rather than weaponizing it against them.
So I'm going to give all of our listeners an assignment today. Talk to your men today. Just ask them a simple question. How are you really? How are you really?
Recently, one of the Nigerian artists who usually sends an email to others, he said, instead of asking you, how are you? How about ask, how is your mind?
interesting. That's a lovely question to ask, because most times when you ask people how are you, they say I'm fine.
It comes with the cliche, I'm fine. So everybody will just say I'm fine, whether you're fine or not. But if you strike the unusual question, how is your mind? How is your mind been doing? How is everything going with your mind? That person will at the minute either pause at your question or pause at look at himself. While pausing at your question, he will have to flash back into himself. How has my mind been in the past 1 hour, in the past 2 hours, in the past 3 days, in the past 4 months? At that moment, you'll be able to check up on yourself, and at the same time, that person you are willing to open up, you speak up to him, or at the same time, walk up to somebody who can offer that kind of mental therapy for you, and at the same time, help you to loosen your mind when it is tight. So, check up on the other person. As a bro, you ask him, how is your mind? How is everything going with your mental health? Are you sure you are okay?
So I'm going to pass the question to Missy today. How is your mental health today?
Well, my mental health is stable.
Okay.
But there's another misconception that says real men don't suffer.
And it is, I don't know what to say. But do you agree to that?
Well, everybody will have to agree with me that real men suffer. Because if you're a man and you are not suffering, if you're a woman and you are not suffering, then who are you?
Your life itself is a suffering.
Because what are you trying to achieve if you are not suffering to it? This is what I mean. I'm not saying the suffering, the aspect of, total abject pain and everything. But, trying to scale an hurdle to get a goal itself is a suffering. Because you can't just sit by and wait for it to come to you. You have to take an action, and that action is what we call suffering per se. Because when you are unable to get that goal immediately at the tip of your finger, when you just have to make an effort to get what you want to do, itself is a toll on your body, is a toll on your mental health, it is a toll on your social well-being. So that itself is something suffering, because at every point in time, the body is always willing to rest. So when you make it go through a certain level of pain itself, you are suffering the body. You're suffering the mind. You are in the time of trying to juggle around who you are going to talk to, how you are going to approach him, how you are going to make sure that you permutate and make sure you get what you want. That itself, you're suffering the mind. So, real men do suffer. And you can't put it out that real men don't suffer. So it should be something that should never even be uttered, that real men do not suffer.
Real men do suffer, and real men do have mental health challenges. So it's okay for you to speak up, to talk about it, to reach out for help, to seek treatment, and be diagnosed for whatever mental health concerns.
Now you've had most of these, compromising statements, most of this misconception. But you might even be bothering in your own mind while listening to us that how do we amplify the mental health awareness around men? How do we make sure that men get through most of these misconceptions that people, and even you are the one suffering it at the moment listening, and you'll be like, oh, somebody say men don't suffer. Somebody say it's not okay to cry. Somebody
how can we address it?
Well, I believe one of the main ways we should try to get away from most of this stigma and make sure that we are ably okay when it comes to pursuing our wealth, and ably okay with our own health itself, which is the whole encompassing of wealth. You should remove the stigma that men themselves do not experience any kind of mental issues.
Yeah, I totally agree. Once you hear a misconception, be the first person to correct it and let them know that men's mental health should not be stigmatized or discriminated. Also, and while we're talking about stigma and discrimination about mental health, it brings me to a situation that we're currently facing in Nigeria where suicide is criminalized. Recently, a man attempted suicide, and a spokesperson for the police was talking about how they were going to assess the person, and immediately after they assessed the person, they were going to process the person for violation of the Nigerian Penal Code. And it brings me to the question that one of the conversations that we continually have to push is that we have to ensure that policies are created and implemented to ensure that mental health is fostered, especially men's mental health. We cannot be raising awareness when we have policies that are against it. Studies have shown that 70% of suicide and suicide attempts are from men. Now, if we're saying that 70% of suicide that we have is men, and in Nigeria, suicide is criminalized, it means that a lot of people that are arrested for attempting suicide are men. And if a man that is already struggling with mental health concern, that is probably struggling financially, and then the person still has to face a prison sentence,
opting for suicide.
It's hard, because obviously somebody that is opting for suicide should get treatment, should get help. They should not be put in a jail and where their condition is going to be worsened. So we need to have conversations around it, most especially this decriminalization of suicide and the strengthening of our suicide prevention framework, especially in Nigeria.
Why would they decriminalize suicide? And at the same time, there's a need for us to increase access to therapy, especially for men, the boy child. Because when we look at these things, if you are unable to speak out, you're unable to talk out, you're unable to access the doctor who will even make you pour out your mind. We have specialists who will engage your mind and at the same time make you realize that this is what was wrong for you to come to this certain position. So there's a need for us to increase, and that is not left out in stakeholders who are involved in majorly health, because you must be able to put in policies in place that also accrue for certain percentage of the hospital, certain percentage of the clinics, certain part of various health facilities, to make people understand that you can also come for your mental health, not just for your physical diseases. You should be able to also know that, okay, when you walk up to a doctor, you can also have that ability, if not entirely, have the ability to engage your mind, engage you yourself, so that before you just sort of a first aid treatment for our mental health, you'll be able to talk around one. And even as individuals, we should take it upon ourselves that I am not a burden to the other person. You should be able to provide certain solution, mental health solution. Okay, why not take a walk? It's just simple. When somebody asks you, my head is clustered and I don't even know what else to do afterward, there's nothing bad telling the person that, can you just take a 2-hour sleep? Can you just take a walk through the garden? Can you just drink some water and rest? These are simple first aid mental health therapy, which we can even give to ourselves before now advancing, to the orthodox method of, okay, how do I go about the pain I've been experiencing lately? How do I go about the issues I've been experiencing lately? So mental health therapy is also critical in getting through most of this aspect of mental health.
Okay, yeah, which brings me to the idea of that. The fact that when you were talking about people not just going for mental health treatment, they should also learn how to foster and boost their own mental health through doing simple self-care tips like sleeping, taking a walk, journaling, doing if it is music that you like to dance to, you could do that. But we should also have the boldness to walk into therapy, to walk into clinics for therapy. It is very important, and we should also encourage other people to do the same.
Engaging in mental health therapy is not luxury. It is simply doing yourself the favor and taking care of your mental health. This is not luxury, because if you are not stable mentally, you will not be able to go to work. You will not be able to pursue that career. You will not be able to get that goal. And if you can't get that goal, you end up wailing around. And before you can open your eyes and close it, you're into illegal stuff. And before you know it, you're already merry-go-rounding around the fact that you are just stuck in one position. And before you know, we are raising men who are dysfunctional in the society.
We might also have issues of men that are sick or men that die as a result of their challenges. This answers the question that Mental Health Awareness Month is not a joke. It is an opportunity for us to have conversations around mental health, to foster mental health, and to ensure that we are all showing up for our men's mental health, and we are ensuring that we continue to create a society where we have functional men that are wealthy, that have awesome health, and are doing well.
While you pursue that health, make sure that your mind itself is wealthy, because just as health is wealth, wealth itself is health.